In Syracuse, Sicily during the classical Greek era of the 4th century BC, there lived a courtier named Damocles the Fox in the court of Dionysius I of Syracuse, the mighty Lion King, who ruled over Magna Graecia. Damocles constantly flattered his king, exclaiming that Dionysius was truly fortunate as a great man of power and authority without peer, surrounded by magnificence. King Dionysius the Lion, ruler of Syracuse and sovereign of this Greek territory, listened to Damocles the Fox's endless praise. In response to this flattery, Dionysius offered to switch places with Damocles for one day so that Damocles could taste that fortune firsthand and truly experience what it meant to be king. Damocles the Fox eagerly accepted the king's proposal, thrilled at the chance to experience royal life. Damocles the Fox took his place on the king's throne, a magnificent seat positioned amid embroidered rugs and fragrant perfumes. He was attended by beautiful animal servants, graceful wolf nobles, elegant horse courtiers, and proud eagle guards. The court displayed magnificent luxury, exactly as British artist Herbert Gandy would later paint it. Gold treasures, precious riches, and lavish foods spread before him in a spectacular feast. King Dionysius I, the lion who had made many enemies during his reign through his rule of Syracuse, arranged for a very special element in this throne exchange. A sword, sharp and unsheathed, was suspended directly above the throne. This deadly blade hung at the pommel by only a single hair from a horse's tail, demonstrating the precarious and fragile nature of power. The sword hanging by that single horsehair served to evoke the true nature of kingship. Damocles the Fox realized that being king meant having much fortune, but always watching in constant anxiety against multiple dangers: jealous serpent advisors plotting in shadows, treacherous servants whispering slander, enemy kingdoms threatening invasion, and the weight of poor royal decisions that could destroy everything. Damocles the Fox sat frozen on the throne, his eyes fixed worriedly on the unsheathed sword dangling above his head by that impossibly thin horsehair. He understood at last the imminent and ever-present peril faced by those in positions of power. As Cicero would later write, terror always loomed over the powerful. All the luxury at his feet, the embroidered rugs, fragrant perfumes, gold, and feasts, meant nothing compared to the constant dread above his crown. Damocles the Fox could bear it no longer. He finally begged King Dionysius the Lion for permission to depart from the throne, declaring he no longer wanted to be so fortunate. He realized the profound truth that while he had everything he could ever want at his feet, it could not affect what hung threateningly above his crown. The lesson about power's burden was learned. Luxury and authority come with unbearable psychological weight. Roman orator Cicero, who lived from approximately 106 to 43 BC, recorded this tale in his Tusculanae Disputationes 5161, using it to illustrate that virtue is sufficient for living a happy life. The original anecdote came from the Lost History of Sicily by Greek historian Timaeus of Tauromenium, who lived circa 356 to 260 BC, and was preserved through Diodorus Siculus before Cicero immortalized it in Roman literature. The cultural legacy of this tale spread throughout Western civilization. William Shakespeare referenced it in Henry IV with the immortal line, "Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown." Neoclassical patron Thomas Hope commissioned Richard Westall's famous 1812 painting of the scene. Geoffrey Chaucer mentioned it in the Canterbury Tales, describing conquest with the sharp sword over his heed, hanging gay by a subtle twine's thread. Roman poet Horace alluded to it in his third book of Odes, describing Sicily daps, Sicilian feasts, with districtus ensis, the drawn sword hanging over those who abuse power. The Sword of Damocles entered modern consciousness as a powerful metaphor. President John F. Kennedy compared nuclear annihilation to a nuclear sword of Damocles hanging by the slenderest of threads, capable of being cut at any moment. Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev wanted the Tsar Bomba to hang like the sword of Damocles over the imperialists' heads. In the end, it is not power or fame that defines us, but the kindness we show and the courage we find in the face of adversity. Every choice to act with compassion becomes a legacy that outlives us, lighting the way for those who follow.